Thanksgiving is a day on which we spend time with people we care about, enjoy a big meal, and think about the things that we are thankful for. To be thankful basically means that you feel like you should say thank you. That's where the name Thanksgiving comes from. It's a day on which we give thanks for the things that we have in our lives. Also, Thanksgiving is always on the fourth Thursday of November, not on a specific date like other holidays. I'm Teacher Mike, and the goal of this video is to help you practice listening to English, teach you some new words, and teach you a little bit about the culture of the United States. So, where does Thanksgiving come from? Beginning hundreds of years ago, in England, there were special days on which people gave thanks to God by praying and fasting, and they called these days Days of Thanksgiving. In 1620, a group of English settlers called the Pilgrims arrived in the area that is now Massachusetts. Settlers are people who try to start a new life in an area where no one lives or in an area that does not belong to them. And we call these people the Pilgrims. But pilgrim is also just a word for any person who travels somewhere special for religious reasons. Also, I am a native English speaker, but I am not a Native American. Native Americans are the people who had been living here for tens of thousands of years before Europeans arrived. You will also hear the terms American Indian, Indigenous American, or sometimes just Indian. All of the Pilgrims probably would have died, but the Wampanoag Indians, who were native to that area, gave them food and taught them how to plant crops. 1 year later, the 50 Pilgrims who were still alive at the end of the year had a 3-day feast to celebrate their first successful harvest. 90 Wampanoag Indians arrived and joined them in their feast, and this is what most people now call the first Thanksgiving, even though it wasn't really a day of Thanksgiving, because again, a day of Thanksgiving was usually a day of fasting and praying, not a day of feasting and celebrating. But Thanksgiving did not become a national holiday until 1863. The northern states and the southern states had been fighting a civil war for 2.5 years, and President Abraham Lincoln believed that creating a national day of Thanksgiving could help bring the country back together. However, this was actually the idea of Sarah J. Hale, an author and editor who had spent over 30 years asking the government to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. So that's how it began. But what do people do on Thanksgiving? Like I said earlier, on Thanksgiving, we basically just get together with people we care about, eat a big meal, and think about the things that we are thankful for. In some families, people take turns saying the things that they are thankful for before they begin eating. But again, not every family does this. Many families don't really do anything special. They just eat food and enjoy spending time with each other. The centerpiece, or main dish, of most Thanksgiving meals is a big roast turkey. I think this is mostly just because turkeys are big birds that can feed a lot of people, and they are also native to the Americas. But not every family eats turkey every year. Some families prefer to eat other things, such as ham, duck, goose, or seafood. Some of the most common side dishes that we eat on Thanksgiving are mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, stuffing, gravy, cranberry sauce, squash, and green beans. If you don't know what stuffing is a mixture of bread and herbs, and sometimes fruits and or nuts that we put inside of a chicken or turkey before roasting it. And those are some of the most common foods that we eat on Thanksgiving. But what's on your table for Thanksgiving dinner really depends on the region that you live in and your family's traditions. For example, while most families eat their turkey with gravy and cranberry sauce, other families might eat their turkey with kimchi or barbecue sauce. Around Thanksgiving, many people also volunteer in their communities. Often, they will do this at soup kitchens or homeless shelters. Soup kitchens are places that give free food to people who cannot afford to buy food. Homeless shelters are places that people can stay temporarily if they don't have a home. Most towns and cities also have parades. And because there are always American football games on Thanksgiving, for many people, Thanksgiving is just as much about watching football as it is about eating turkey or being thankful. However, there is also a much darker side to Thanksgiving. When Europeans came to the Americas, they brought with them new diseases and violence, which would kill about 90% of the native population, or about 55 million people. Also, the story that most people learn about the first Thanksgiving isn't 100% true, and it ignores all of the horrible things that Europeans and later the United States would do to Native Americans over the next 400 years. So although there are many Native Americans who celebrate Thanksgiving, there are also many who view this day as a day of mourning. Basically, a day to express sadness, but also to remember the strength of their people and to educate others about their history. So yeah, that's a very quick overview of Thanksgiving. If you have any other questions, please let me know.